In World War II, history didn't change because of a battle. It changed because of a decision no one talks about. In 1940, Hitler gave an order that should have destroyed Britain. On paper, it was perfect. But behind closed doors, something unexpected happened. His own generals chose silence over obedience. What followed was not an invasion, not a surrender, but the beginning of Hitler's first real failure. Stay with us, because in this video, you'll see how one ignored command saved Britain, cracked Hitler's control, and quietly changed the outcome of World War II.
At the height of the Second World War, Adolf Hitler believed his power was absolute. His word was law. His decisions were final. Every soldier feared him. Every general obeyed him. Disobedience was not a mistake. It was a death sentence. And yet, in one critical moment of the war, Hitler gave an order. An order meant to change history. But behind closed doors, his own generals did not follow it. No arguments. No open rebellion. Just silence. And that silence changed the course of the war forever. By mid-1940, Hitler believed he had reached the peak of history. Poland had fallen in weeks. France collapsed faster than anyone expected. Across Europe, German flags now stood victorious. To the world, the German war machine seemed unstoppable. Inside Berlin, confidence turned into overconfidence. Hitler believed Britain was next, and that its defeat was inevitable. He saw Britain as weak, isolated, already broken, in mind and in spirit, but history was about to prove him wrong. Hitler's plan depended on one crucial step: Britain's. Air defenses had to be destroyed. He gave a clear order to the LUFTWAFFE. Crush the Royal Air Force. Attack radar stations, airfields, aircraft factories, supply lines. Without control of the skies, any invasion of Britain would fail. On paper, the plan was flawless. Even German commanders admitted it. If this order was followed precisely, Britain would be left defenseless. But precision was about to disappear. But Hitler's generals saw something he did not. They believed the war was already turning in Germany's favor. In their eyes, Britain was finished, cut off from Europe. Standing alone, they believed surrender was close. They underestimated one thing. British radar failed to understand how critical it truly was. They believed technology did not matter. Fear did. Believed bombing cities would break the British spirit, that civilians would panic, that morale would collapse. London became the target, not airfields, not radar stations, but streets, homes, people. Hermann Göring supported this idea. Senior Luftwaffe commanders agreed. They believed terror would succeed where strategy would take longer. They did not challenge Hitler openly. They did not refuse his command. They chose a safer path. They changed the order without saying a word. No arguments, no confrontation, only silence. And that silence would cost Germany the war. Radar stations were attacked, but only sporadically. They were damaged, not destroyed. Airfields were bombed, but never crippled. Runways were repaired. Planes returned to the skies. Aircraft factories kept working. Day and night. New fighters rolled out. Again and again. Meanwhile, German bombers were redirected. Away from strategy, toward cities. London became the focus, along with other major targets. Officially, Hitler's order still existed. On paper, nothing had changed. But in reality, the order was being reshaped. Softened, diluted. And slowly ignored. Not with defiance, but with quiet adjustment. A command still spoken, but no longer followed. This quiet shift gave Britain exactly what it needed. Time. while German pilots bombed cities. Britain rebuilt. Airfields were repaired. Runways cleared. Radar stations rose again. Quietly, quickly, new pilots were trained. Squadrons reorganized. Defenses strengthened. Piece by piece. British radar never slept out. It watched the skies. It gave warning. Fighter squadrons rose only when needed. Fuel was conserved. Strength preserved. They struck at the perfect moment. Meanwhile, the Luftwaffe began to tire. Planes were lost. Pilots exhausted. Instead of destroying the RAF, Germany was wearing itself down. And the balance of the air war began to shift. Hitler grew increasingly frustrated. Something was wrong. But he could not see it. Behind closed doors, the truth was hidden. His generals reassured him. Britain, they said, was on the verge of collapse. Victory, they promised, was only days away. Reports were softened, numbers adjusted, losses minimized, failures were buried, airfields destroyed. On paper, radar silenced. In words, no one wanted to speak the truth. No one wanted to admit that a direct order was being ignored, or worse. That it was failing, so the illusion remained, and Hitler believed it. By the time Hitler finally understood the truth, it was already too late. Britain was not surrendering. The Royal Air Force was still standing, still fighting, still flying. German losses were mounting. Planes destroyed. Pilots lost. The cost was rising. Every single day, the invasion was postponed. Once, then again, until it was no longer discussed. Quietly, without announcement, the invasion of Britain was abandoned. For the first time in the war, Hitler had failed. A major enemy remained undefeated, and the illusion of invincibility was broken. This moment meant far more than a single lost battle. It exposed something dangerous. A crack inside Hitler's command. For the first time, his generals had learned the lesson. Orders could be bent. Changed. Delayed. Without immediate punishment. The unity that once defined Germany's war machine began to fracture. Trust faded. Doubt replaced discipline. Commanders hesitated. Hitler suspected. As the war spread east into the Soviet Union, these cracks widened. Decisions became reckless. Warnings were ignored. Reality was replaced by belief. And this broken relationship between Hitler and his generals would lead to disasters far greater than Britain. Disasters Germany would never recover from.
In 1940, the world believed the war was already decided. Germany had crushed Poland. France had fallen. Across Europe, the German war machine stood unstoppable. One nation remained, Britain, alone, surrounded, waiting. Across the Channel, Adolf Hitler watched and believed the final victory was only one step away. But history was about to turn, not because of a battle, not because of an invasion, but because of one order that was never truly followed.